Welkom Arnold, Lise and Kijos and Slaten. Livestream starts as my BTC alert goes off. Yeah, maybe we have a better timing right now. But yeah, I was looking for the Model 2 potentially, but I think the Model 1 is a bit more likely. The reason for that is that we did not break structure back to bullish after our second tap. Did we do it on the low time frame? Yeah, like on the low time frame, we do have a break right here. So we can look for super clean confirmations within this demand zone. But the Model 1 can also be the case. And the Model 1 is a bit more likely. Because if we just zoom out on like the 5, the 10, 15, then we do not have any structure within this move into your second tap. So this is our current tap 2. And then just looking at structure, it could also be that we have low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So interesting level, but we have to wait for a clear signal. Welkom Mike, welkom Wes. Good to see you guys at a different timing, but still good. So let's wait a little longer for some people to join, then we can get into it. That's what I'm recording in the new videos. Also what we talked about yesterday. Like when to expect a Model 1, when to expect a Model 2. For Model 2, you preferably have a clean break after your second tap. Like this. This is what you want to see for a good Model 2. If you don't have a break after your tap 2, then a Model 1 is more likely. So this can also just go lower. And that is also the more likely scenario, because currently we have, let's see, is it an Asia or London low? Okay, so it's Asia low, so that's still good, but it was close by a London low. If this was a London low, then it's more likely to make a new sweep. And looking at confluence, for example, USDT, then this one still looks pretty bullish. So there's not really a confluence to look here for the Model 2 yet. So keep an eye on it. See, Westerfries sounds Italian. Yeah, it's definitely not from the Netherlands. So let's zoom out a bit. What do we have? Okay, if we look at structure and everything, then if we're looking at an accumulation, we know it's counter context. So then it has to be super clean to play an accumulation, because we are going against the context. And also if we look at the anchored VWAPs, at the trend, literally everything is lower, and we are also below the VWAP. So everything is pointing down. So then we only want to go against the trend if the triggers are super clean. And in this case, we do not have a clean break after our second or into our second tap. So this one is just straight down. So this can just be low, lower high, lower low. So a Model 1 is, in my opinion, more likely, also because this move down is pretty aggressive right now. And we are below daily point of control, which is this dotted line. So Model 2 is, I don't think we get the Model 2. Model 1 is the more likely. And even if we get to the Model 1, it needs to be super clean, because trend is still heavily down. However, what I like is the return to zone within this local range. If we look at it from here, all the supply levels have already been hit. So this is only liquidity. So that is looking good. So we can zoom out. Is there a reason to go lower? Well, we have this big wick. This big wick already got filled for 50%. Let's look. Yeah, so that's nice. This wick is filled for 50%. And below that, there's nothing really. So we do not have a super clean PY resting below. But yeah, given the fact that we don't have a clean breaker structure into our tab 2, the model 1 is what I'm mostly looking for. And then we know we can extend our range to the daily low, look at the deviation threshold, and then basically this whole box from here to the deviation threshold. And if we wick below it, that's also fine. That will take out that ultimate wick, which is a big level. So we have to see what happens during New York. We have seen crazy selling pressure, especially during New York sessions. So keep that in mind. But if there is coming a setup, I believe it's a model 1, and this is the best setup that has been forming the whole week, except for example, Hype. Hype also super clean price action yesterday. We'll go over that in a moment. But for now, I think it's most likely that we go lower, maybe bounce a bit, tap into this POI, and if you get that clean breaker structure back into your range, preferably also back in your value area low. Like currently you can also see the value area low is pretty high up. It's right here. So for the model 2, that's not the best. What we want to see is some price action right here. Let that value area low move lower. And then during New York, make a new low, break structure. Preferably the value area low is then lower. And then it's a clean long towards these levels. So keep an eye on that. And for the model 2, am I interested in model 2? So we came into extreme demand, which is basically this whole zone. I would say this is your market structure to look at. So if we already break that, then then the model 2 is potentially in, but the model 1 is still the most likely scenario in my opinion. And extreme liquidity. So extreme demand has been mitigated right here. Extreme liquidity is this low right here, the first higher low after your tab 2. Right there. But if we just zoom out so far, let's look for the model 1. And if we replicate that to USDT, tapped into this supply, do we have more refined supply above? Yeah, we have this tiny block right here, which just got front run. But what we should not forget is if we zoom out, this chart is still super bullish. Simply trending higher. Main structure is still this high, higher low, higher high. So this can even come all the way back here and then still put in a higher high. And if we look at the internal structure, then we basically from the low up have high, higher low. This made a new high, high, higher low, higher high. And then this is your bearish structure break. So what price did is that we took out this high, came back in the range, but here it just mitigated this demand zone and then broke structure back to bullish internally again. So this is just remains a bullish chart unproven otherwise, which is why for the model 2 I'm not interested. I want to see model 1 where you have very little room for error, because the model 1 needs to make that new low, then push back in the range. The moment you push back in the range, you have the breaker structure, this should be your low. And then you can give it one attempt if it takes the low again, after the bulls, the downtrend just continues. So here we can watch. This is potentially range. And I will look at it from this perspective. Bullish range until proven otherwise. Range high, range low. Why is it the bullish range? Because we are still in a bullish trend. Demand also still resting below your range low. And basically every structure is still bullish. So this can just be higher low, higher high, until proven otherwise. So then the first sign, if BTC goes for the model 1, for example, and you see this take the high, break internal to bearish, then it's a really clean trigger for the model 1 on BTC. Since price is also building quite a nice liquidity trail to the downside. Do we have any structure here? Like on the 5, internally on the 5, your low is here. On the 3, it's here. But that's very, very, very locally. So personally, I will just zoom out a bit and treat this as the new range and just wait for the high to be taken out. In confluence with BTC going for that model 1. If you get a clean break above here, then I would be interested in potentially looking for higher lows. But for now, I think the model 1 is a bit more likely. We can have a look at the order flow. If there's liquidity below our current daily low, and see what the order flow is telling us. Open interest is just going down, so there's not a lot of positioning, not a lot of longs, not a lot of shorts, which is not really signaling any interesting action. What you would like to see is, for example, shorts get super aggressive here. That's a nice confluence, but right now that's not the case. Spot is also doing nothing, and CVD is a bit flip-floppy. So let's see. This is our current tab 1. This is our tab 2. There's not a lot of volume or like aggressive positioning. Here we had a lot of aggressive positioning. At this tab and this tab, it's not there. We are currently below our daily point of control and below the VWAPs. So also based on this, in my opinion, model 1. Oh, the model 1 is more likely. Where's my drawing tool? Look for price come here, preferably some aggression, then a clean break, and that's the long. For now, the VWAP and the daily point of control is above you, so that's clean resistance. But if, in any case, price suddenly flips both, then the model 2 can also be in play, where you have 1, 2, this your 3. If you then flip it, you can look for that higher low. But for now, I think model 1 is more likely. So let's see what happens. For gold, yesterday during the stream we talked about out gold, and where we had that that sell pressure coming into. We first swing filled this high, then broke 10-minute back to bearish, then came down. But early in the week, I said this is our key demand, which were aligned with that fib level, where if you get a pullback and higher low, you don't want that to be below your fib. And that demand and the fib perfectly aligned. So this is where if bulls want to do something, they have to do it from this level. And we can see that at first attempt, this demand held. Then we had a push higher, breaking internal back to bullish. And that left, again, what is it? Wick demand and I believe 10-minute demand behind. 5 minutes. Yeah, 5-minute demand. And that's where price now came into. So we swept all this liquidity into the last remaining demand available. It can be that market maker wants to grab all demand before pushing higher. So this is less demand. And they did it with pretty nice 1 hour move, where from this high we have low, lower high, lower low, lower high, move into this 5-minute demand, ending the candle with a swing failure, and then breaking structure back to bullish. This is a super, super clean trigger because you tap into extreme demand. This is your demand needs to hold. You swing fill into that level and break 1 hour back to bullish. So this is a super, super strong invalidation level. And that was why I wanted to long this morning when I was watching the chart right here. I saw this S&P, then return above here. And the moment we closed this candle, I wanted to get in. So I was looking. I saw this push above, and then this, let's make this. And basically this whole zone turns into demand, range demand. So I was like, am I going to be greedy and, for example, wait for this lower demand, which can happen? Or do I want to just get in and want to step in at the upper demand, which is this 3-minute demand zone before pushing up? So I had my limit. I saw the price go up. I was like, I'm not going to chase green candles. We wait for demand to be mitigated. So this was my entry, or at least my limit. And then first target was this liquidity trail, but we left 1 hour supply behind yesterday. So I was like, we can move to that level and see what happens there. If we show weakness, just take profit, maybe a short. But yeah, I shared it in the group. I got front ran by literally like this. So I did not get tapped in, and now price is moving higher. I removed my limit for now because it seems like we are starting to take this liquidity already. And this structure is also, I think this just squeezes higher. And since all this liquidity is taken, I'm not interested anymore because that was my main reason to take it with that gap above. But the more liquidity is already taken, the less of a magnet these higher prices are. So then I'm not really interested anymore. And also here, I don't really like this structure. So even if this now comes down, then this limit I had, I don't like it anymore. Because if this pushes down now, it looks pretty heavy. So then I only am interested if it comes down, for example, like this. And then it's more likely that it mitigates at lower demand. Then I want to see what happens if you mitigate it. Do you then break structure back to bullish? Then I want to get in again for a move. Because this can also still happen. Because we have the downtrend. Lower high, lower low, break. So this can just be a higher low for a higher high. Because we still have that lower demand, which I just shown on the 3 minutes. It's pretty clean. Basically, these 2 sell candles before that push, leaving behind an imbalance. So if price comes back down, this can still be PY, but the limit I had was at the top here. I'm not interested in that anymore. And I still, yeah, I think it's more likely the price now is just going to take this liquidity and then squeezes higher. So unfortunately, I was not limited in. Otherwise, I was, if it went a few cents lower, I was in this. And it could have been a pretty nice long to end the week. But yeah, part of the game. You don't always get what you want. So let's see what happens from here. I hope some of you are maybe in, maybe not. I believe Slaton was also left behind. Let's see. I have to take a look at the chat. Alles goed, Wes. Which time frame break do you want to see there for Model 2? It's regarding Bitcoin, I think. I'll have a look in a minute. Slaton klinkt daarentegen niet echt Italiaans. I believe in every trading group there are so many Dutch people, it's crazy. People also always ask me like, how can everyone on Twitter? It also seems like we're like 60 or 70% is Dutch, and the rest is from all the rest of the world. I like models on a Friday. It means Mr. Trump's gonna tweet something. True, true, true. Get Wilfred. Too many Dutchies. Welcome, Daniel. Welcome, HKP. By the way, for DDT's trading view indicator, what helped me, I went to DDT's profile and added them to favorites, then they popped up my site and I added them to the chart. So if you want them, you can do it like that. Slatan, I was also waiting for with the London open on gold. Would you ever just enter here on the candle close of this boss? No. Sometimes it depends on what the RR is, but like in this case, when the break came, I don't like to enter directly at the top. So then I just wait for like, is there a little demand below or the break? But I just did not want to buy like these highs. So I want to see a little retrace, and then there was demand here, but they just front run it ugly. But normally I don't enter at the local highs. I wanted to achieve at least a little pullback. Yeah, Arnold shorted yesterday. It was clean. Best daily streams on YouTube. Thanks, HDP. Good to hear. Let's see what. Yeah, so Slater was asking, what do I want to see for Model 2 break? Yeah, to be honest, I don't like the Model 2. I want to see a Model 1. Or for the Model 2, like a super clean break above our daily VWAP. Any current daily point of controls around here. But then I want to see like a clean break like this. And then see if you can get maybe a pullback here and then get in. But overall, I like the Model 1 a lot more. The danger of a Model 2 is also that you step in, Model 2 gets stopped out, then you want the Model 1 to work and then you get emotional. But the Model 1 is much more likely because we are still trending down and we don't have a break right here. That's what you want for Model 2. As long as you don't have a clean break of structure back to bullish into your tab 2, a Model 1 is more likely. And then you can also ask yourself, like, what is the volume profile looking super good, which can help a bit. And we are currently below it, so it is already looking a bit better with the more time you spent here. But Model 1 is more likely. What I wanted to look and totally forgot because I was drawing is there clean liquidity below the current tab 2? Because that can also be a reason that a Model 1 is more likely. What I like with counter trend models, like this one is that you see aggression into your tabs. So right here, if you see a lot of aggression into these tabs, but price goes up, that shows absorption. Like if you see this at your tab 1 or 2, that's a super strong signal that the market maker is absorbing the sell pressure. But right now we do not have that at the tab 1, also not at tab 2. So that also makes me believe more like if it is gonna turn into accumulation, I think Model 1 is more likely. And then watch, is there liquidity below? Yeah, look. So we are in a downtrend, so pressure is just down. So the market maker, if he wants, he can reverse price, but if he sees this, you can also think like him. If he wants to grab more liquidity and everything is pointing down, only he can reverse the market. Wouldn't he just take this liquidity resting down here as well and then reverse? And then we have the Model 1. So I think I'm leaning more to the Model 2. add to the model 1. I saw something in the chat. Do we have news today? NPI? It's often an hour before New York, so that should be then in 6 minutes. Yeah, I'm leading to the model 1. So let's see. Gold discussed hype. Let's go to hype. Just go for a clean chart. Non-farm payroll. Oh, that can be pretty volatile, yes. Okay, so that's in 5 minutes. Interesting. Yesterday I warned that this move down was pretty aggressive, could break structure, and that could be the start of a potential change in the direction for hype. And that also happened. So what I was mainly looking at was either that we accumulated down here for long, or that we get that move into these fair value gaps for short. But we did not get any of the two. So I was not really paying attention anymore to the chart yesterday. But if you did, it formed a super clean redistribution. Where if you look at it, price broke structure, left supply behind, right here. And then on the low time frame, you formed this 1, 2, 3. So technically you can pull it from like low to high, in which this is your low, and then this is your first high, tab 1, mid-range. Let's get rid of the little drawings. Then tab 2, price takes out your tab 1, comes back into the range, valid tab 2, and then tab 3, which made a new high, and then technically broke structure, like your clean structures, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, bearish break. So he broke structure back to bearish with this move. Short. Then price left supply behind here, which was the cleanest if it would come back for that, for a model 1 into model 2, which is like our favorite model. That will be this break and then down. But the moment you break, you have this clean break, which we have here, that technically already validates this as your third tab of the model 1. And the model 1 is the cleanest because then your invalidation is always the same. It's just your third tab. So at that moment, if you're behind the screen, like first you swing fail it, here you break it. So then you can say, okay, I get in there, stop loss there, target the range low for 2R. But you can also see price go down. And in this case, it formed a redistribution with like a new range. Even a little reaccumulation, turning into a 1, 2, 3 break. So then here you could have shorted it again. Technically already right here because you broke structure here from left to right. So then you could look at it from that perspective. And then trade it there. And then you can see that oftentimes people think, oh shit, I missed the model 1, I'm too late, blah, blah, blah. But oftentimes you get new opportunities if you just stay objectively looking. And then oftentimes the second confirmation is even a better short. Because this one is 3.4R. And let's say you entered here on the break, then your RR was to the range low 1.6, 1.7. So that always shows, like, if you have a confirmed model 1, then your target is the low. So then any redistribution or sweep and break you get after that, you can just trade with a trend towards your target. So that was some super clean price action. However, I was not looking at the charts at that point. And right now, there was potential long loading. Let me quickly look. Oh, there's news right now. So let's see. Lately, Bitcoin didn't even do anything regarding news. So 15 minutes. Yeah, it's not really. Yeah, the close is also important, but for me, it's more about the move. So I want to see strength and hold. Then the time frame is not too important for me. 15, just want strength, hold above, and then yeah, like it's like a 15-minute close, something like that. And then look for the high low. It's more about just the move. What's called? Oh, look. I would have been limited in right now, but I removed my order. But this is yeah, finite move. You see how they swing filled the high and then broke structure right here. So there's news and Bitcoin is slightly reacting on it. But gold is having a bigger reaction. With this move, you create supply. Basically, this is now also supply. So that is looking a bit heavy. Yeah, Daniel shorted it. Super clean. No, I would not take the gold long. I want slow moves. This is way too violent. But if you hold here, maybe even tap into that demand, then break structure, then it's a long again. So what is hype doing now? Yeah, so we had some nice imbalance right here on the 4-hour. This one. That one got fully filled. And price just front ran the 8-hour demand just below. So that can either be inducement or we come back later for it. But yeah, this move down is very bearish, but price, this is a super strong demand zone. Again, you sweep liquidity from your former candle and then you break structure back to bullish. That leaves behind the demand. And this is a super strong demand zone because it first takes liquidity and then breaks structure. Not really on the 8-hour, but if you look lower, then it will give you structure. Yeah, so you have 1-hour structure. So locally, it's reaching pretty important levels. But like the 1-hour trend is now also bearish. You see that right here. So what I was looking at, we SFP'd the low right here, then we broke structure back to bullish, and we left demand behind. So 2 levels I'm interested in potential longs can be either tap into this demand, break structure, look to trade it up. But we also induced the 8-hour demand below. So we can also just lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, tap that demand and see if we get a reaction from there. And then this would be the higher probability play, model 2, model 1. But this 8-hour block, it's a super big level. So it's not weird, or at least you can expect at least a relief bounce from there. And also more often than not, you clear these big sell candles, at least partially. Doesn't have to be this one, but Prices move down pretty aggressively. Like this candle. Oftentimes you at least partially clear that. Or like here. So yeah, let's look for that. And BTC, I think BTC is the most potential one with the Model 1. If we get it in the next few hours. Aligning with USDT taking out that high, or at least this high. And maybe like we have that this high, this level above. And that's the range high from February 6th. So if we take that out, that's a big level. But yeah, as you can see, this is just super strong, trending higher into proof and otherwise. So that's why we want to be very careful with longing and want to only do that if everything is aligning. So let's watch if we get to the Model 1. Gold is still going down. And we can have a look what the BrighterData is telling us. For the stats. So here we can see fractal match, which looks at similar cases where the daily high is early, the daily low is at that level. And we can match it. Then we can see that 8% of the days closed bullish, 92% closed bearish, 75% took out the low later. So also combining this information with I just said, in Model 2 is not that likely because 75% will take out the low later. So also based on that, it makes more sense to make a Model 1 if we're gonna reverse. So this is nice to have as confluence. Here 77% took out the low later. We can do the same for the weekly. Weekly has been bearish all week. But right now we can see that because we made already big movement this week, that only 33% would take out the low later. So currently the low is on Friday. Friday is a pretty good reversal day if you had a bearish week, or Sunday. So if you're gonna put in a bottom this week, it's likely today or on Sunday if we continue bearish. But based on that, the Model 1 is aligning super nicely, which would be in line with potential end of the week relief bounce because we have a good low on Friday. Making a new daily low, which is from an accumulation perspective, the Model 1 is more likely, given what I told. And also statistically, it shows us it's more likely to make a new low today before potentially reversing. So I really like how this is developing for the Model 1. So keep an eye on that. You know the triggers. You need a new low. You need to clean, break back to bullish, preferably in your value area low. Stuff like that. Besides that, what are the other coins doing? Sol, yeah. Sol, this looks really bad. Like it could give, of course, a relief bounce like that, but overall, this needs to accumulate super cleanly. But otherwise, this looks horrible. Tao. I really like this demand below with this liquidity above it. And yeah, this also looks just very heavy. Big moves down. You have a lot of liquidity building up this whole trail, but don't be blinded by liquidity trails because it can also just be weakness. If there's no buying, then naturally you just slow bleed. And that can just be like Bitcoin where you slow bleed and then bam, get liquidations. So don't be blinded thinking, oh, if this reverses, this is gonna shoot up in one go. It can be, but you always need structure. So then you just have to zoom out. Is there clean structure? Maybe you have some supply right here, supply right here. So if you get above that, you maybe get that reversal towards this liquidity. But until then, this is just looking super heavy, super heavy, or at least nothing to expect like crazy high probability long setup. Eat, yeah, same case. Took out that ultimate low and not showing any signs of buying after taking it low. That's not looking good. Is now in the demand below. Yeah, this looks heavy. We'll now just look at it from there. Can it reclaim that former low? Until then, this looks scary, to be honest. Like if I would just purely look at the chart, ignore everything else, then I would say this has to be taken eventually. Because this is this. If this was a 1 minute chart, I would say this will be taken. Because this is ugly as fuck. This is just like the Tau bottoms we shown, which eventually get taken. I don't want to get bearish now, since we already made such a big move. But normally I would say purely technical, this looks ugly as fuck. Which could align with sweeping your range low. Swing fill your high, return to your low. Swing fill your low, return back up. And then it's eventually a range, a massive range since 2021. Range high, range low. Imagine. But yeah, let's see. It's too early to talk about that. But for any sign of strength, you want to reclaim your former low and get above this supply zone. That will be a sign of strength. Until then, it looks heavy. So yeah, that's it for this Friday. I'm not around to trade, but if I see price go for the model 1 and hold and give a trigger, I will look at my phone from time to time. But you know what to do. Wait for the move below, wait for a clean breaker structure, look at your volume profile. If it aligns, your third tap is always your clean invalidation. So then it can be worth a long attempt, something like this, for a reversal to your high, but probably then you go also a bit higher. Maybe to there. We have not retested any levels to the upside. So that is it basically. Let me look at the chat. Your factor candle indicator going red. Yes. CVD is also pushing lower. But what we want to see, how we want to use it, is to see red candles into our taps. So if we see red candles into our third tap, and then price fails to push lower, that's what we want to use. Similar as if we see distributions and we see blue candles as our tap, and price does not go higher, that shows absorption. So what we would like to see is to see those red candles into the low, price fails to push lower, because you have to see it a bit like there's a lot of sell pressure in these candles if they are red, but if there's a lot of selling and price does not go lower, it shows you that someone is absorbing those sells. So we actually want aggression into that low. Love the candle indicator, thanks for making it so we can change color. Yeah, like normally they are too bright. At least I don't like them that bright, so I have them at 30%. But standard it's at 100%, but then they are super bright. everyone their own preference, but in my opinion, it's a little, I don't like it that bright. So I have it at 30. You can just put it on whatever you like. DD, I took the height model 1 distribution at the boss at 68.34, 3.4 hour on 1 minute short. What do I call it? If there was a 1 minute boss, let's see. Let's go back in time. So right there, tab 1, tab 2, potential tab 3. What is the high? This is the high. Yeah, so this, you took it on this break. That is valid. What, but at least I always want to see a clean break and also back in your range. So in this case, you have a 1 minute with high, low, high break. That break is around your range high. Preferably you have a break in your range, below your tab 2. So then it's a bit more difficult, but then you can watch for extra confluence, like is it within your value area high? And that's probably not the case on that first break. No, because then you are above your value area high. So then it can just be retest high low. So normally you like to see that break back into your value area high. And for example, here you do have it. So if instead of this one you use this, which then is also 1 minute break, but then using this as your low instead of that one higher up, then you have that break within your value area low, then that's better short. So then I would wait for that bit of aggression, and I could still take it here, and then also be around the 3R. And then a 1, 2, 3 kind of deviation, model 1, peer 3, whatever you want to name it, break within your value area high, and then this is super clean invalidation. So then I would do it like that. But normally, like 1 minute break, it can give crazy RR, but it's also a bit, yeah, often you can also be wrong because you can get a 1 minute break and then directly afterwards go up again, then you get stopped out, then it gives 1 minute break again, and then again, and then maybe you have 3 losses, and then you see price go down, and that's the most painful thing there is, because then your idea is right, but you are getting stopped out because you use too tight of a stop. So I like it to just wait a little longer, have that break back in your range high and below your value area high, and then short it. But yeah, there's no right or wrong. Just some ways how to play it. And that's how I like to play it. April's job market was also revised up by 64,000 jobs. This marks the second strongest US jobs record in 30 months. What's gold doing? Yeah, so it's close by that lower demand. Do you take trades on Friday going into the weekend? On crypto I do. On gold I don't. So the shitty thing is that oftentimes gold delivers trades on Friday. But yeah, it might be so unpredictable because the market is closed in the weekend. So yeah, on gold I never take it into the weekend. For crypto I do. But oftentimes I like to de-risk because when it's weekend I don't want to look at the trades all the time. But if it's a clean setup, a clean model, then obviously I just let it run. I also like how Ondo is shaping up. Can have a look in a minute. It's a bit late. Welcome, Sido. Good to see you. Ondo is holding. Okay, let me look at Ondo. Welcome, Matt. Doesn't everyone expect that to be taken on ETH, therefore it will not. Yeah. But thinking that way, you can always keep thinking. Like everyone thinks it's not going to be taken, therefore it is going to be taken. But because everyone thinks it's going to be taken, it will not be taken. So in my opinion, it's best to just stick to the chart. But if you don't take it and break structure back to bullish already, then just flip. But otherwise you can keep thinking like it has to be taken, but everyone thinks it will be taken, therefore it won't be taken. And then you drive yourself crazy. There was a breaker block in ETH around there. I think it seems we went through. Fuck crypto, really. That's the sentiment we need, Arnold, to create the bottoms. No, I took it on the next one after the swing favorite pattern. Ah, yeah, then it's valid. As long as it's back in your range and below your flow area high, then it's valid. Okay, now I'm not mad. I missed my entry with 3 cents. I'm not interested in the long. It's super aggressive. We'll just continue down now. Ondo. What are these alerts? Ah, look. Seems you guys can find it. A lot of boosted your script. Don't know what it means, but yeah, so Ondo made this strong rally higher and then a full reversal and took almost all liquidity here. It took this low. Okay, let's first. Okay, look. What first caught my eye is this 8-hour demand that was front run right there, aka inducement. Can be a bullish sign, but just keep it on the chart. This move up, there was no structure, only on the one. Broke bearish there. This liquidity had been taken. There's clean supply up here. Let's put on the indicators for a moment. Yeah, so red above us. This liquidity had been cleared. This liquidity still resting lower. Do I like this as a range? Potentially. Is there supply? There was supply right here, which got mitigated already there. Liquidity is taken here. This could be, oh, there's not the eyeballs. This could be your Model 2 UI. However, here's the same for Model 2. Preferably break structure after making that step 2. So this, and then look for higher low, higher high. But right now, this can just be low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So that's why looking for model 2 can be the place, but it's a lower probability play. Because you have no, the structure is still just down from this whole move up. You are below your daily point of control, below daily VWAP. Also does not look like a good range. I don't really like it. Basically because your clean structure is up here. So even if you go up here, you can come all the way up here, swing fail it, and then still go down. So for me, it should have more, like maybe a new range here with like 1, 2, 3, then a break. Then it would look better to me. But I don't like it too much from a model 2 perspective. And you also have to ask yourself, like, price made this big of a move up, now is seeing this much sell pressure up, straight down. Most of the times, from experience, is that this either bleeds down further or you start a new range and then go up. Because directly going up, directly selling off everything, then you do not continue all of a sudden again. So you could look for local plays here, but I think even if this gives a good bounce, that it will be the start of a new range. Those weird sounds, that is from TradingView. Those people are apparently, oh look, Lisa is boosting it. Thank you. I don't know what I can do with it boosting, but so yeah, that's my view on Hondo. BTC just boring. Okay, let's see if there's still a question. Otherwise, I have to go Hondo on the high time frame. High time frame. Yeah, that would make more sense. And what would eventually make even more sense to me is to retest this level. So high time frame, I think Kijos is talking about this. Oh, that's really clean. We had that inducement of the 8-hour demand I was just talking about. And that would align with tapping demand, making tap 2 into that 8-hour demand, which got front ran. So yeah, I think this one will be hit sooner or later. But eventually we have untested range demand right here. Basically this whole block is demand. So on a long enough time horizon, maybe this, boom. It's a bit aggressive, but maybe like PO3, I don't know, but eventually it's likely that this gets retested again. Or at least he check it up. Whew. Gold is nuking straight down. Yeah, so that's Now I'm happy that I did not long it. Yeah, so this is going for that full retrace. Nasty price action. With that 4-hour break last week, only to grab this liquidity, and now going full force down again. Simply continuing this local downtrend. So crypto is, they're nuking crypto, but they're also nuking commodities again. Yeah. I have to go, guys. So thanks everyone for tuning in again, and for this week, crazy week. But at least we can do, can experience it with each other, which is better. So thanks for that, and I speak to you guys in the Discord. Happy weekend already, very early weekend, but can never be soon enough. And then next week, few more days, and then it's vacation time for me. So enjoy. Plans are clear. Watch mainly for that Model 1. If before you get super a lot of strength, maybe this, but overall I think Model 1 is what you want to look for if we get anything. So cheers and have a great weekend, everyone.